welcome to various Xenopunks on Megahex FM. Today with Flavio as my co-host.
Hi, Nicola. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm fine.
I'm really happy to do this show on Bleep Techno.
Yeah, me too.
Because it's a genre that has kind of changed our style a lot, I guess.
Yeah, I would say it. A lot of influences from this sound.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about Bleep Techno, about UK Bleep Techno. It kind of started around 1987 or 88, I guess, was the first track, and then kind of 91 was the golden year, and then kind of rave took over from 92, I guess. Then it kind of emerged into rave, hardcore, later on jungle, and Bleep Techno is kind of the first electronic sub-bass genre, you could say. And I mean, in the UK, sub-bass is a big thing. You could say it influenced garage, two-step, even dubstep, in a way. Even if the current dubstep producers maybe have no idea what Bleep Techno is or was. So what you just heard was LFO with the LFO Leeds Warehouse remix.
Yeah.
Or mix. It's on Warp Records. It's also the most sold Bleep record and maybe the most famous one as well. I think they sold about 100,000 copies. Imagine that.
Yeah.
As a record label. As a small starting record label. I mean, I think it was their fifth release. That's
crazy.
That's pretty crazy, but
it's a bomb, man. It's a bomb.
It's a bomb, and a sub-bass you never heard before. I read somewhere that, the ones that heard it, I mean, it was mostly for white people. It was like the first encounter with the sub-bass, because they wouldn't hang around reggae dub parties. So that should be a moment. Also, what I read is they didn't make a lot of money out of it. I kind of thought like, okay, this would be kind of the start, the kickoff of Warp Records financially. I mean, today Warp Records is this kind of, could you call it indie label? It's not an indie label, but it's not even a major label in that sense.
Yeah.
Something in between.
Yeah, I would say it's a major label. Yeah, of course. I mean, releasing Afex Twin and also R&B singer like Helela and all this
or
stuff.
Or this If Two More, Lenny Kravitz
I would say
styled the rock.
It's a more major than independent.
And yeah, because I think they made a deal. Like back in the days, you wanted to start a record label and you made a deal. So you kind of had to make a deal with, I think, a bigger record label that had kind of contacts to a press factory, and they made like a deal with one kind of bigger record label, and they gave them like 10,000 pounds back in the days, and they were like, oh man, they gave us 10,000 pounds for this kind of music, we're lucky. But they didn't know that they will sell 100,000. So yeah, that's how they missed out on a lot of money, I guess.
But I think it was kind of normal selling 100,000 records at that time.
I think other Bleep records sold like 20,000, 50,000. Okay. So yeah, as you heard, Warp Records was one of the first labels to kind of, or it was the label to make kind of Bleep Techno big. The first ever Bleep Techno recorded is from Unique 3, and it's called The Theme. Let's take a short listen to that, and then a kind of history how Bleep Techno started. So that was Unique 3, the theme, released in 1988.
Yeah.
And then they on the original Chill Records that became this Chill Records label afterwards with the yellow. Do I find it?
Yes.
With the yellow labels and the yellow font. We will listen to that in a later stage. So yeah, basically this music kind of started in the region of Yorkshire.
Yorkshire.
Yorkshire or
Yorkshire.
Yorkshire.
No, it's Yorkshire.
You think?
Worcestershire.
Yeah. Sorry that I'm butchering this
Yorkshire
pronunciations, which includes Leeds, Sheffield, and so on. So basically, all those crews before they were into bleep techno, they were kind of into this kind of reggae, dub, and electro music. They imported a lot of US records, and they were kind of breakdancers. They were crews, basically battling themselves. Like there was like real rivalry between the crews. Like, yeah, if you would be from Sheffield, you would represent Sheffield battling out against those in Leeds and so on. Then later on, house music came, acid house came along, but during the first parties and the first eve of acid house, they mostly played sound from the USA, and slowly some producers started to take those influences from dub and the sound systems and this Detroit techno house, Chicago house influences, and trying something new, which kind of became this minimalist version of Detroit techno, including this sub basses. I mean, the Unique 3, the theme, I read they sampled the feedback on a speaker for the sub bass. So the sub bass we just heard was a feedback frequency, basically. And a very important person in this movement in the early years was Rob Gordon. I mean, the other two guys of Warp Records, namely Steve Beckett and Rob Mitchell, kind of deleted him out of the history of Warp Records, which is kind of unfair. Yeah, I mean, Rob Gordon back then had a studio, was kind of producing a lot of famous artists, like Human League. I think also you said he
with Genesis he also
did something.
Some things, yeah.
But he didn't like house at all. He liked techno, but he didn't like house. So during I think '89 he met two other guys, and then he started Forge Masters, which became the first Warp record. He met also those of Warp, and I think he stayed at Warp Records till '91, and then they had a dispute over the style or the direction where the label should head into, because I think Rob Gordon really liked that this kind of sound brought a mixed crowd into the dance floor, which was very segregated before, and he wanted to kind of pursue that way, make music or release music on Warp that gives you this kind of 50-50 ratio. And the others were more, they weren't so keen on club music, and they weren't even so into club music before. So all the early Warp records, it's really like the A&R is done by Rob Gordon. Also, yeah, I don't know, should we listen to a Forge Masters? I don't like the Forge Masters so much.
The track with no name, it's
alright.
It's a cool track.
But maybe we skip, because what I find also very interesting is that kind of, I always thought kind of bleep techno would have is kind of the next step of industrial EBM and so on, and all this industrial music coming out of the UK. Also because it's kind of produced also in the north. All this noise industrial, I mean, that was basically also music from Sheffield, but it's more hip-hop rooted. The only exception, I guess, is the Sweet Exorcist, which one part is Richard H. Kirk from Cabaret Voltaire. It would be really nice to read how he made that transition, kinda, because as you would trace the other kind of bleep techno groups, bands, they were very mixed, and they had a clear dub and electro and break dancer background. If you read some Discogs notes, for example, Satin Storm, it's like he was a dancer of that crew back in the days. And it would be cool to kind of read about the transition from Richard H. Kirk, one of my favorite artists of all time. I think he's one of the only that made this transition work. Yeah, let's listen to. Also on Warp, I think it's their third record on Warp Records. I think sold like 20,000 times. Not bad. They're all kind of similar. Let's play Test 4.
Test 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sweet Exorcist, test 4.
Think last note to Warp Records, I guess. I mean, after 91, 92, they went a complete different way. They kind of signed artists like B12, Black Dog, and then the notorious Aphex Twin. And that kind of became the foundation of IDM. Also a very nice period when kind of the base of kind of bleep techno became more abstract. Maybe we could do a episode on that kind of ambiguous music in a later stage. And I think also many big artists started with bleep techno. People like the Future Sound of London and of course Orbital.
Oh yeah.
They started with bleep techno and moved into more trance-ish sounds. Does the trance genre do them justice if you tag them with trance? I think so. It's really good trance they did. Like timeless songs. Someone asked why is bleep techno called bleep techno?
Yeah, because of the bleeps. Because of the bleeps in the sound.
You know,
beep, beep.
Yeah,
beep,
it's
beep,
simple as
beep.
that. Those high frequency space-ish tones.
Bleeps and clonks.
I think they called it first Yorkshire bleep and bass, I think, or bass and bleep. Then only bleep, and then over the years it became bleep techno.
Okay.
But I wouldn't name it only bleep techno because it's a lot of bleep breaks as well. I mean, some are 4/4, some will get very breakish, and also once it leaves the kind of northern of England and infects all England, like 90 or let's say 91, it becomes very like sample based, like lots of funky drummer samples, lots of samplings from Derek May, this one bass, I don't know what is it, some Mayday bass, like gets sampled all over in 91, and the Aim and Break.
Yeah, of course.
That's kind of then it molds into UK hardcore around 91, 92, and then into jungle, into like darkish jungle, and then from that it's like this dub reggae jungle and whatever. But we go to those songs, those kind of rave-ish, hardcore-ish bleep songs later on. Let's show the Orbital Omen. Hope I find it. Where could it be? Is it in deiner Biege maybe?
Look, it's that.
I see it.
Yeah,
there you
genau.
go. So I think it's their second release ever. So that was Orbital with Omen. It's still a quite cheap record. I mean, all the ones that we showed now are kind of the basic entries into Bleep Techno, the standards, the ones that got pressed in 10,000s. But there were many other more obscure records that just got pressed in limited numbers, but still not so small numbers like now. But you have to imagine, I mean, back then people would record this music on cassette, and then it would get played by a DJ, tested out on the cassette.
On the dot? No, on the cassette?
Yeah,
really?
on the tape recorder.
Okay.
Some
in
that
1990.
Yeah, like the first 89, 90s, they were on cassette, and then they got pressed, like from the reaction, they got pressed on vinyl.
Vinyl?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the next one, a more obscure, a very dear label. It's not Chill Records, it's Chill Music actually. Where is the sine wave? It's on Chill Music. It's from Sine Wave. I mean, first time I heard this song, I was like, wow, what is this? What is this genre?
Nice.
It's Sine Wave with Sine Wave, produced in 1991 on Chill Records. There are also...
Chill Music.
Chill Music, sorry, yeah, Chill Music. And there are really good records on Chill Music. Mostly, some go into hardcore-ish territory with lots of horror movie samples. Also, one to check out on that label is the Rotor. The Rotor release, it's equally as good, but we had to decide for one, I guess. Enjoy. that was Sine Wave with Sine Wave on Chill
music.
Chill music. Well, I mean, you can still buy it, but mostly this kind of on lesser known bleep techno records or bleepish break beats, they're quite expensive. I mean, you should have started around 2014, 15, 2016. Then it started to spike, kind of. I think around then there was some little media coverage from Resident Advisor. Yeah.
The revival of the bleep techno.
There's actually a good article about bleep techno, the history of bleep techno on Resident Advisor. It's quite good, actually. Maybe back in the days when Resident Advisor was really, really good. There still are sometimes. Maybe I can show you that one. Let's switch the view. Not in the chat. Yeah. Here you go, if you're interested. I posted in the chat also Bleep, the story of Britain's first bass revolution. Bass. I post the link in the chat. So here you go. We continue with the next lesser known record. I think it only got released on a white label as well. It's from Detrimental. I think they only had like 4 releases. And funny story about this one, it got not reissued, rebuilt,
yeah,
on
CPU,
Central Processing Unit. You all know that electro IDM label, really good one, putting out releases like every month, very frequent release schedule. And
the Detrimental rebuilt the tracks because they didn't have the dots anymore, the master dots. And it's kind of accurate, the rebuilds.
But they aren't
I have to say, they're okay, really good. They're really
okay,
good.
but they're not so good as the original.
Yeah, the original is insane.
So let's listen to that one.
It's this side.
Yeah, it's only one-sided, I guess. Mine.
Okay. Das Gleiche pressed.
That was detrimental with rewind. Yeah, still like a very analog produced, no samples, bleep techno. We stay on that route for I think 2 songs, and then we switch to more Londonish sounds. So what you got in store, Flavio?
Bleeps International by Bleeps International.
Simple as that. So that was Bleeps International with Bleeps International. Still can.
With
It's alright.
Skip International.
Skip International. Yeah, I think we do one more, not sample based, and then we move on. This is Mick Fright with Harmony. I hope it's the ace. I don't know which side actually. Hope it's the right side. It's hard to tell and to remember if you don't sticker your records like I do.
Ausgebleept.
That was Mick Fright with Harmony Mix 1. Still fairly cheap. 11 francs on Discogs. We'll grab it. The next one, to stay in this kind of mellowish bleepy mood with samples. Think it's the record I spent.
Show me what you got.
It's the record I spent the bleep record I spent the most. I think about 50 quid for Dimension Flatline. Both tracks are great actually. Bass is bleeping and flatline. We go with flatline.
Flatten the bleeps.
From the grave.
I mean, the seller was like, this record is very good, plus it came in that state. I mean, that's kind of
Fair.
a fair, a fair mostly. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
But I got like 20 euros or pounds back. Yeah, I think it was pounds. I mean, the vocal, Welcome Back to the Grave, amazing. Amazing. Next up, I think Lou owns this record as well. It's the Dtox, The Experiment. Nice little cover here. I think it's from 1990. Also a good track, but the other is much better. What's the name?
The name is Prefix.
Prefix, okay.
Prefix. It's actually on the B side.
Enjoy. So that was Dtox with Prefix. Just one copy left on Discogs.
Be quick.
Be quick if you want to have it. I mean, Flatline was sold out if you saw it. The last copy went for 120. Crazy prices. Yeah, we just found out that since we updated this streaming software, the chat isn't displayed on our screen. We're sorry about that. Try to fix it during the next song, which would be Language Renegade. And if you're interested in I got a PDF of the only book written about this kind of era of music. Let's switch to that. Join the Future, Bleep Techno and the Birth of British Bass Music by Matt Ennis. I think he was a music journalist for like DJ Mag and don't know, and other magazines. Didn't read his biography. I got the PDF if you're interested. You can also support I think it's Velocity Press, and download the ebook or order the book. So it gets very into detail about this kind of private stories of Rob Gordon, Forge Masters, Nightmares on Wax, or you have Sweet Exorcist, Unique 3, just how it started, how they battled each other, and how it became this British phenomenon. It's also fairly cheap, €8, and you can pay it with PayPal. I mean, that's really convenient. And he also, because the reader was broken, the Colin from Velocity Press responded personally and gave me the PDF. I think you won't get it as a PDF else. Yeah, just a quick side note. And now let's continue with Language Renegade. It's more kind of sample based, also kind of like dub reggae influences on this one. So that was Language with Renegade. Quite expensive record, unfortunately. Let's check the page again. 50. Oof. And very good plus. Yeah, don't trust those. Very good plus. And just saw we got a viewer from Russia. Hello, creep with me. Hello, Andre. Hope you're good. You're fine. All good in St. Petersburg. We hope to come back soon. Yeah, let's continue. What you want to show one?
Yeah. What do you think about this one?
The Fosby.
Yes.
Yeah, let's do the Fosby actually. What's it? Fosby and
I don't know.
I think they're from
like
Leeds. Also, they did a repress actually this year.
Really?
Yeah. Like a reissue, but not all the tracks are featured.
Okay.
Like just 3 or 4 tracks are featured.
Fosby and Koos.
All right, yeah.
Fosby.
Let's listen to that.
Fosby and Koos. Free Your Mind. Amazing track.
There is still, I mean, the original is kind of expensive again, but I think there is one copy of the repress on Discogs. If you're fast, you can have it for 10 or 15 quid. So, repress, remastered, goodbye there. So, this record's very dear to me. It's my first kind of bleep, hardcore, ravish record. Kind of would define my style in the coming years. I bought it around 2015-16. Remember playing it the first time at Revier Club, and have to imagine Zurich's music or clubscape in terms of musical diversity was house, but not really 90s house, kind of this deep house, minimal tech house, and the most adventurous maybe would be disco and world music, kind of. And so if you would play breakbeats, rave or bleep techno back then, you instantly would empty the floor. Like, happened to us a lot, and I think this was a floor killer. Yeah, it's by Il Exodus. It's called Il Exodus. I don't know the track name. It's a white label again. I think it's fairly cheap. Also, the comment got deleted on Discogs, but there was once one comment that was like, yeah, it's perfect for an intro for gobber sets. Like, yeah, I was like, okay, this would be back then this would be my maximum of, like, the maximum peak level that I could play back in 2015. That was like considered for me to be super hard, I guess.
This side?
Yeah, the one with the sticker. I think so. I'm not sure.
The people are assembled.
You
So that was Il Exodus with Dark Spirits. Kind of more breaky vibes with this one. Let's continue.
Should we go ahead with the breaky vibes?
I have one.
You have one?
Yeah. Let's
That's
get
good.
this one is on Deja Vu recordings. Also, kind of if you're into hardcore, horror samples, breaks, it's a really good label for you. Tracks by Recall. What Power Do You Bring? I guess sampled out of a sci-fi horror movie.
Yeah, classic 91 style.
Super kind of this guy kind of super your typical 91 styled bleep breaks, ravish hardcore, whatever you would call it. That was Recall with What Power Do You Bring? Weep! Super nice, high frequency bleep. Getting more breaky and hardcore-ish. Think, what was it, 91?
91, yeah.
Let's skip to 91 or even 92. And this is kind of breaks. I think this one has the Amen break sample, the famous one. And I think it's a mixture of bleep, acid, hardcore, whatever. Super nice.
This side,
it's from Sykosis 451. I think he started with kind of normal bleep techno and went harder and harder when the years passed.
Badass tunes.
On Badass Tunes, yeah. So that was Sykosis 451 with Hurricane, I guess, and I spread some misinformation at the introduction of this artist. That's his first record, so basically always was hardcore. Hardcore. So I would say let's do one kind of important. Now we went through the obscure ones. I mean, this is also super obscure, but it's a kind of important artist, the artist duo. It's a Future Sound of London, and they made this Pulse series, which is basically they made those fake AKAs or used old AKAs like Mental Cube. Then they made other AKAs and released it as the Pulse compilations, which basically is just them with different AKAs. And they're different.
It's Jumping and Pumping, right?
It's on Jumping and Pumping. Super cool label as well. If you're into hardcore-ish, acidy vibes, check out Jumping and Pumping. Yeah. I mean, they got lots of shit records as well, but,
but also good ones.
Really good ones, like Ron Wells records with his different AKAs. Definitely should check that out. I think it's I've Become What You Were. It's the track name, and I mean it's kind of bleep techno, but super abstract. I mean this song still one of a kind in terms of compositions. You couldn't nail this as this is your typical bleep record or whatever. It's just super special.
Number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
Pulse
was
2, Jumping and Pumping, Future Sound of London.
You should check out their discography. I think they're super underrated. Did lots of genres, also really cool ambient albums as well.
Man, this is one of my favorite records.
Yeah,
this track is fucking insane.
And the Yage,
yeah, that's also cool.
Wow. Two tracks on the Yage.
Yeah, but I want to show you another one from Demonic.
It's it's on Ram Records. We didn't know which one to show you because Doggy is also a very nice bleep record.
Both records are really crazy stuff.
Before Flavio tells you more about the record, Ram Records is actually that record label that released a guy called Gerald Voodoo Ray.
Yes.
So kind of famous record label.
Demonic, Peter Dugal, and
it's his only release actually.
It's his only release, yeah.
And it was a hit.
He's still doing music with ex Kraftwerk member Wolfgang Flür, and he told the story about this record, but really I can't remember. I think it's an article on the Resident Advisor, I guess. But I will find it and post it in the chat later on. But first off, enjoy this amazing track. Played it a lot at micro parties.
Oh, crazy
sick stuff.
Crazy! I just read in the comments. Future Sound of London did soundtrack for Wipeout. Do you know Wipeout? This kind of futuristic racing game. Was it on PlayStation? Yeah, because then Nintendo did this clone, the G Ride Bikes or something like that, with also super futuristic movies.
Yeah. PSX.
Okay,
thanks for this.
Thanks, yeah. Didn't know.
All right, Demonic, Labyrinthy.
So.
Sick tune, mate. Sick tune.
Sick tune, mate.
Sick tune, mate.
So, we got the last 15 minutes. We just played dark bleep tunes, or kind of darkish bleep tunes, but of course there were kind of housey mixtures and cheesy bleep tunes as well. And
can't wait.
And for the last 15 minutes, let's open those hearts. Let's start. I don't know if this really is a bleep tune, but he did a lot of kind of fusion bleep, breakbeats, house tracks, and has a lot of AKAs. This one is his X-Men AKA with the X-Men Marvel comic covers. Some of you know him by the AKA Nemesis, the Witch Doctor, or Andromeda. Yes. I think they repressed Nemesis lately.
Yes. But Andromeda album is insane.
It's insane. You gave it to Anissa, no?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, let's play Mutants, X-Men.
Yeah,
I think it's the A.
Wolverine.
I think the Wolverine one.
Or the Storm.
The Wolverine one.
Okay.
They got very expensive. I bought them like for five quids, and now they're like 80. Let's check later on Discogs.
I am Professor Charles Xavier, also known as Professor X. I and those who have joined me are known as the X-Men.
X-Men? But I thought the X-Men were...
Mutants? Yes. Mutants? Yes.
Mutants. I hate them.
Are y'all ready for the jam?
Mutants. Are you all ready for the jam?
Are you ready for the jam? I mean, the whole... They didn't release... he didn't release a lot. Here you go. The Sunday Afternoon is also very good. Child's Play, Read Your Mind as well. Breakout as well. I think all are super expensive at the moment. Yeah, but download them on Soulseek else and play rips. Who cares about if you're owning them on vinyl? Next one, we only got 10 minutes left. One of my favorite cheesy bleep tunes, I guess. I know I played at Sonar 2016 and I didn't buy it. I was like two days awake, going to Disco Paradiso and buying a lot of good second-hand records there. And I listened to this like 10 times, but I was like, no, it's too cheesy, it's too cheesy. 1 year later, I bought it on Discogs.
This one.
Yeah, it's called The Entity, Make My Body Move. Ich glaube nicht sicher, ob es der Mix ist. Let's see. The Entity with
Make My Body Move.
a hard opener, no?
Wah, wah.
So the last,
We're coming to the last one. Huh?
yeah.
The show is over.
Oh man, stand by on our Bildschirm soon.
Oh,
Oh, wait. Tricked. I think it's, I don't know the track. It's, if I see it, I know it. It's Ice.
Ice.
Yeah.
Okay. Classic.
It's a super cheesy album, but this track is kind of cheesy and super nice. MIDI rain with Ice to close off our tonight's episode of various Xenopunks. Wait a second. with our Bleep special. I mean, we could continue with 4 more hours. I took so many records. It was nice to go through them again. Maybe we do a Bleep Rave special part 2 in future. I mean, we got every week so many records, so many specials coming up, guests, whatever. Let's see what happens next week. Thank you, Flavio, for co-hosting with me.
Of course. Bro support, bro. You know, bro.
Oh, do I have? Yeah, you're on.
Of course.
Take care.
Thanks for tuning in.
Bleep at the high.
Bleep at the high, yes. Meteor rain, ice.
Oh yeah, and next up on megahex.fm is the Übel Live Punk Show. So stop Twitch streaming and go and click on the radio stream on megahex.fm for some punk rock.